there's a chat window, so you can jump in there and throw out any questions, comments, thoughts, or anything else you might have. I'm also going to archive this. But basically, I'm going to take the same tune that we were working on before. I'm going to take the same tune we were working on before, and then let me make sure. Yeah, so I'm going to take the same tune we were working on before. I did a little bit of work. I brought the couple of the guitar parts in, nothing too fancy, nothing that you missed otherwise. And so now I'm going to focus on making the vocals pop out. I'm going to make the vocals sort of sound like a pop vocal, because right now they just sound like a dry recorded vocal. And through basic techniques, I'm going to do EQ, compression, and then I'm going to show you sort of the special effect tricks that I use when I'm mixing a pop vocal. So I'm just going to play just a little bit of it so you can hear it and make sure everything's working right. So what we have there is just a standard recorded vocal, dry. There was a little bit of compression tracked on it. He has a little bit of a thinner voice, so one of the things that we might want to do is make the voice a little thicker sounding. So one thing that I'm going to do, and you can play with this. I'm going to leave this first insert open, and I almost always do that when I'm dealing with vocals. So I'm going to bring up all of the other inserts. But I leave the first insert open in case I do pitch correction, which I'll do at the very end of this session, because that's a little bit more time consuming and might lose some people. So I'm going to leave that very first slot open, because generally the pitch correction works best in the first slot there prior to all the processing that you do, unless you're doing like a high-pass filter, going to get some rumble out of there. So first thing I'm going to do is make a beefier sound, and one of the cooler things that I have that does that is this Waves NLS channel, this nonlinear summing channel. It's a good thing. You should check it out if you get it on sale. It does an analog board simulation, and so Spike does an SSL, Mike does a I believe an old EMI board, and Nevo is obviously a Neve, and sort of the colors of them give that away. So if I crank up the drive, you'll hear the vocal get kind of warmer.
Crowd of people, you call my name. You look so pretty now.
So I'm going to A-B it back and forth a little bit during the verse so you can see when it's bypassed how it's sounding.
Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there. A crowd of people, you call my name. You look so pretty now with the bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same.
I just was talking and nobody was hearing me. But for vocals, I use that Neve channel. Mike is good for extra beefy sounds, and Spike is good for drums. So vocals and some drums are good on Neve, sometimes Spike. Mike, if it really needs extra help. But Neve's good kind of in the middle. So that's going to be the first thing in my channel. And then the second thing I do is an EQ. I'm just going to use a standard Renaissance EQ. First thing I do is put a little air back into it, because I'm going to run some pretty major compression on it. So the first thing I do is just really boost the air just a little bit. Nothing too fancy.
Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there. A crowd of people, you call my name. now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. No.
All right, cool. So now I don't really need to do any filtering, any high pass filtering, because there's no pops or low end bleed in there. It was a cleanly recorded track. So what I'm going to do now is parallel compression. So what I'm going to do is you can see along here that the levels pop out a little bit, and it kind of drops down pretty soft. There's a little bit of dynamic range compression going on, but I'm going to do a little bit more in serial. So I'm going to do one to kind of just catch the top peaks, and then I'm going to feed that into another one. So I'm going to start with just a regular compressor, just a 2-to-1 ratio, and see how that works. I'm going to aim to get it down to about 3 dB of gain reduction on the top peaks, but leave most of it alone.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You called my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You called my name.
Cool. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing again, running that same compressor into itself with a light 2-to-1 compression, and adjust the threshold again so that I get about 3 dB on average. So the first one I used to knock the top peaks down. The second one I kind of want to be working on, the main stuff.
I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You called my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. No.
So running 2 compressors in serial like that kind of smooths things out. In a gentle sort of way. So it allows you to do some pretty hefty compression without making it sound really sucked in, really compressed. So I'm going to move to the softer parts here and see how they're compressing as well.
And I think about all those times I almost touched you, how you looked at me and laughed, and how you told me your secrets.
All right, cool. Usually I do 3 compressors, but this is already compressed once, so I'm going to leave it alone. Bring the volume down a little bit. It's pretty hot in your face. But now you can hear, and I'll A/B both those off and then on, so you can hear how it's kind of affecting the overall sound.
Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You called my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same.
So with this, it kind of gets that dynamic to sit like in one spot, kind of in the center, the way you'd want it to stand. Then you bring it up a little bit.
Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You called my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same.
I think it's sounding really good as it is so far. So the pop vocal's kind of sitting there right in the center of the song. So now there's 3 effects that I wind up adding to vocals. I usually start off with like a slight reverb, especially when I don't want it to sound roomy. I'll just use like a small short plate reverb. The second one is a slight delay, and the third one is a little bit of a pitch shifter. And so I'll go in order and show you those. That is not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go down to Sends, go to New Track, create a mono aux input track, and I'll call it Vocal Verb. Solo safe that, and then pick out a short plate reverb. I'll show you the reverb that I like to use. I use that I showed last time. But I like Altiverb a lot because it uses impulse responses from different stuff. Let me go to my browser here, and so I can go in and browse. Crap, I don't think this is showing up. Let me do one change here in my streaming settings. I don't think my pop-up windows are showing up. Okay, so now they should be showing up. Yep. Okay, so Altiverb is showing up here in the window. So I'm going to choose the plate reverb. Plate reverb. So they actually have a sampled EMT plate. There's Wendy Carlos sampled 140 right here that I like to use a lot. So I'm going to double click on that. Go with a medium setting. All right. And let's just hear how it sounds.
I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Oh no.
All right, so I just do it kind of short, so it just wettens it a little bit, and I'll dial it back a little bit and hear how it sounds in the track.
Walk up to me, offer a handshake and a smile. Hollywood's behind those eyes. I've waited so long to get myself back here to you. You can't imagine my surprise. 'Cause when I think about she wore that dress today, I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair.
Yeah, I don't know if they offer discount rates. Hopefully they do. That'd be pretty cool. So that's just a short reverb on there. So the next thing I'm going to add is a short delay. And this is kind of a common trick. And I'll use the regular Digi one so you can kind of see what you probably usually have to play with. I'm going to go to make a send to a new track. Mono aux input. I'll call it vocal delay or echo. Vocal delay. Solo safe that by command clicking on it. And then drop that across there. Let's see. Delay. And I'm going to go to, where is it? Mod delay 3, mono stereo. I'm going to click link for the time being. So what I'm looking to do is, since like I mentioned before, this one's in time, and the same thing I did with the guitar delay last time, I can go in and just tell it eighth notes, and usually dotted eighth notes, and maybe a little low pass filter on there, and hear how it sounds by itself. I'll turn the reverb off.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Oh no. She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name.
So the level that I'm going to set that at is I'm going to dial that. I'm going to bring it in the mix. I'm going to dial that send back to where I don't consciously hear it, but when I take it out, I notice it gone. And that's kind of the ideal thing to wetten a vocal, because a delay is a good way to wetten a vocal in such a way that you don't make it roomy, but you smooth it out a little bit.
Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Oh no.
So one thing you'll notice to make it stereo, I'm going to take the link off and make one an eighth note and one dotted eighth, so it'll make it kind of a wider sound.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still there.
So I think that sounds pretty cool. I'm going to bring it in and out so you can kind of hear if you hear a difference between when I kick that on and off.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still. She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Now.
All right, and the last thing I do is a little pitch shift. I don't do this all the time, and I may not practically do it for this song, but I'll do it for demonstration purposes here. So vocal pitch shift. Solo save it by command clicking there, and I'll go to a regular pitch shift plugin. There's a whole bunch of bunch of plugins in here that do that. Let's see if I have that on here. All right, so you see this ultra channel here. Doesn't show up there, but it shows up under. If I go under Eventide, and I select ultra channel mono to stereo. That's a channel strip that Eventide makes, and Eventide is pretty famous for their pitch shift and a lot of stuff that you've heard for the past 2 decades at least, or more, past 3 decades probably, have had this micro pitch shift on it. And this channel has has a bunch of crap: gate, compressor, oppressor, parametric EQ, delays, and stuff like that. You can use that. I can use just the micro pitch shift of that, and I'll just demonstrate it here. Aaron, yeah, you're absolutely right. Pitch shift does have that same role. It's going to create a kind of a stereo chorusing, but maybe in a little more subtle way. But it depends on the style of music. It's great in like R&B, great in rock music, solo vocal stuff.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still. She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring.
So that's one way of doing it with this Eventide thing. They were actually giving away this plugin for free for a while ago. Not so much anymore. But you can do a similar kind of thing with the Digidesign's pitch shift program. It's actually not too bad. If I just go to pitch 2 mono to stereo, I can just dial like one side down 9 cents. Maybe the other side up. Turn the link off. Other side up about 9 cents. Put a little bit of delay, just a few milliseconds, 20ish. Maybe a slight different one on the other side, and then blend that in.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Oh no. She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people.
And then you dial it down a little bit.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde.
So I'm going to turn it on and off.
Wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Oh no.
So I'm going to group all three of these effects at once. Just so you can hear how it sounds with all of them on and all of them off. So the three that I'm using here, I just mute on and off. So here's on.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Oh no.
What does Eventide do that the Digi one doesn't? I bet they could sound pretty close to the same if I spent some time kind of dialing them in. The Eventide just uses, the Eventide algorithms. It's definitely a lot more of a processor hog for sure. Not a big deal, but one thing I did notice is when I'm using it on this computer while I'm streaming, I'm definitely coming close to putting the hurt on my computer's processor. But you could probably dial it in and get them pretty close, but the main effect is still the same, just kind of maybe the sonic quality.
She wore that dress today. I saw you standing there in a crowd of people. You call my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same.
All right, so vocals are sounding pretty good. They're sitting in there pretty good. So now there's some doubled stuff, and there's also a chorus vocal, which he actually recorded separately because they overlap. So I'm going to do this, just copy and paste everything. So you see this chorus track up here. I'm just going to copy and paste everything from this track, the NLS channel. So here's what it looks like. I just kind of got the Neve turned up and just the drive up a certain amount. Renaissance EQ, just a little air going on. The compressors. Let's hide this. Didn't wind up using it yet. So a lot of times when you're recording, a song might require an overlap, so feel free to, if you haven't already figured it out, record on a different track and just kind of treat them the same when they're in a mix. So now you'll see that there's some doubled vocal takes here. Now I'm going to treat them similarly but not the same. The thing about doubled vocals, if he's singing on the same pitch, you don't want him to sound the exact same.
You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I...
So usually you'd want the doubled vocal to sound a little thinner so you can kind of blend it in there a little bit. So I'm not gonna use that fattened NLS channel in there, But I'll drag all the other plugins that I was using. Maybe just the reverb and not the pitch shift and delay and stuff. I can always add those back in later. So what I'm going to do is just, solo this vocal, and I'm going to scoop some of the body out so it kind of blends in. The thing that makes doubled vocal sound doubled is kind of the more the high frequencies. The low mid frequencies can make it a little bit too beefy sounding.
You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly.
And then I'm going to duck it down a little bit so it kind of blends in.
You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You look so pretty, my name. You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Now.
All right, now one thing I did notice, and this happens once you add a lot of compression and stuff. Let me bring my next row of inserts in. Especially with this vocalist, is he gets kind of sibilant, and that gets compounded when you compress and then compress and then compress. It can get a little bit too much, and you can hear it when he does a lot of S's in this line here.
You changed, but I am still the same.
So I want to kind of get still the same and calm that down a little bit. So I'm going to use the regular Digi de-esser. So that's under Dynamics. Holy smokes, that's a lot of plugins. Where are you hiding? Dyne 3 de-esser. It's pretty grabby, so I can just touch this range and bring it down just like 0.1, 0.2.
But I am still the same.
And you can solo it and hear what it's taking out, so I can just listen to. So then you can do this to just to dial in the right frequency of the vocal. So I'm doing this just to kind of sweep to find where the most of the sibilance is. Turn the listen off.
You changed, but I am still the same.
So you can see that it ducks down here on the meter when he gets really sibilant. So I'm going to turn this off.
You look so pretty now with your bleach blonde hair and your belly ring. You changed, but I am still the same. Now. So you walk up to me, offer a handshake and a smile. Hollywood's behind those eyes. I've waited so long to get myself back here. Surprise. 'Cause when I think about the past, and when I think about all those times I almost touched you, how you looked at me and laughed, and how you told me.
I do de-ess after compression because the compression brings out the sibilance more and also makes them more even and level. So in doing that, it makes the de-esser work a little bit easier if it's after compression.
And how you told me you're secret, Holly, Holly, I don't understand you. I have seen you holding that girl's hand, and I don't know. 'Cause when I think of.
All right, so now there's a few background vocals. There's one main background vocal part. This is my friend Kenny here. And sometimes background vocals are tricky. Let's hear what it sounds like. Just blend it in.
I am still the same. Oh no. Offer a handshake and a smile. Hollywood's behind the. Offer a handshake and a smile.
There you go. So he kind of compresses himself when he sings. I don't think he does that anymore. But I'm going to probably hit this pretty hard with a compressor because he's kind of all over the place. I'm going to use one of my favorite ones for just laying down the law as far as dynamic range goes, and that's Avid's Smack. It's sort of their clone of the Distressor compressor.
Handshake and a smile.
Because I don't care how grabby this is, it's just going to kind of be in the background. It's not going to be near as loud as the lead vocal. And you can see over here he's a lot more dynamic than Mike is.
Offer a handshake and a smile. Offer a handshake and a smile. Hollywood's behind those eyes. I've waited so long to get myself back here to you. You can't imagine my surprise.
So I'm going to thin that out a little bit too, because it's a background vocal track. I don't want it to be as thick sounding as the lead vocal.
To get myself back here to you. To get myself back here to you. My surprise.
A little pop in there. This isn't going to hurt it at all.
To get myself back here to you. To get myself back here to you. You can't imagine my surprise.
So I copied that vocal reverb on there. I'm not going to do any of the other delay or anything else on there because I want to kind of keep it subtle. Dial it back a little bit further.
To get myself back here to you. You can't imagine my surprise. 'Cause when I think about the past,
Jesus, I forget hitting talkback. I'm going to put a different reverb on that vocal track because sometimes you want the vocals to kind of trail off, background vocals particularly, to trail off longer than the lead vocal because they're more sparse. Oftentimes they need a little bit more help. And so I'm going to just kind of go for a similar sound. I'm even going to copy the same settings. So save that. I'm going to use that same altiverb setting, but just lengthen it. So I'll go from 60% to like 80%.
to get myself back here to you. You can't imagine my surprise. 'Cause when I think about the past, and when I think about all those times I almost touched you, how you looked at me and laughed, and how you told me you're a secret. Me, Holly, I don't understand you. I have seen you holding that girl's hand, and I don't know you like the way I used to. Holly, please be true.
There we go. So we got the vocals sort of all blended in and happening with the song. Let me see if that's all of them. Those are just guitars and a few little things at the very end. Let's hear what these are.
be true.
Damn, that actually sounds pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of compression on there. I'll probably use the smack setting just to kind of put the clamp down on them.
Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true.
Make them a little bit stereo. Uh, 10 extra credit points for everybody that can tell me where this music's from. Yeah, we sampled that. So I'm just going to do a little bit of, we're just going to finish up with just doing a little bit of pitch guard. Yeah, a video game. That doesn't count. One of the greatest video games ever. Close. Right system. So these vocal tracks are a good candidate for some pitch correction. He's actually really good on them, but it'd be nice if they were just like right there. So I'm going to go and use Altiverb. It's under Celemony, Melodyne, not Altiverb. And so I know I've gone over this in class a little bit, but just a quick demonstration of using Melodyne. Close. So first thing you gotta do is transfer it in there. So I actually have to play it. And so you'll see I put it before the compressor. So almost always it's the first slot, like I mentioned before. I could probably do it to both of them at the same time. So this one I'm going to set to transfer. Just click transfer. Click this button so I have multiple plugins popped out at the same time. Click transfer on this one, and hopefully my computer survives it.
Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true.
That's my favorite part of Melodyne is when it jumps when you're done transferring it. But you can see that I can make sure I select stuff from within Melodyne, and I can just double click on pitches and it'll snap to the nearest pitch. So you can see he's a little bit sharp. This is going to drop him down where he needs to be. And he also warbles a little bit. And so I can actually right-click on this tool here, this pitch modulation tool. And so you can see his pitch is, warbling because he's holding a long note. Not too bad because you can see that's a whole E flat there. So I'm not going to do it 100%, just enough so it's sounds realistic. I'm going to do the same thing to this track here. Just double click on each note and it's going to snap to the nearest note. Whoa, that might not be right. We'll leave that one alone and just double click on each be true and then de-warble it a little bit. I'm going to right click and it allows me to select my pitch modulation tool.
Be true, be true, be true.
So one of the B's is suspicious.
Be true, be true.
Or all of the B's.
Be true, be true.
Much better. Let's check out the other one.
Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true.
So I can get rid of his drifting as well. Take down some of the modulation.
Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true. Be true.
Trust me, my house is not that exciting.
Be true. Be true. Be true.
All right, let's hear how these sound together.
Be true. I don't understand you. See him, see you holding that girl's hand. Don't know you like the way I used to. Honey, please be
Since nobody got it, that is the theme music from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the NES. All right, so let me just play some of it. I think we're in a good place. And then next session, we'll talk about automation, do some automation tricks on the same tune. So here's what we got so far.
behind those eyes. I've waited so long to get myself back here to you. You can't imagine my surprise. 'Cause when I think about the past, and when I think about all those times I almost touched you, how you looked at me and laughed, and how you told me you're a secret. Me, Holly, I don't understand you. I have.
All right, that's cool. So I'm just going to plug these guys. That's my friend Kenny. He plays with Panic at the Disco now. And my friend Mike on lead vocal. He plays in a band called Shovels and Rope. Check them out. They're an awesome band. Other than that, I'm going to do some automation next time, probably next week sometime. If you guys have any time preferences to do these things, and maybe we'll just do some different ideas for these live streaming sessions, just stop me in the hall or email me or something like that, or message me on Facebook, whatever you want to do. And that's it. Thanks for checking out. You guys have been awesome. Some good questions and comments. And I will archive this and it'll be up on my YouTube page probably within a day or so. Have a good one, everybody.